Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about goals. So for 2018, I am not setting a whole lot of goals, and I feel like with the videos I've been watching of other booktubers, that's pretty consistent, that we're all kind of setting loose goals for next year. I did really well on my goals this year. I completed the Muse Monthly Challenge, which I thought was really fun and exciting. It gave me different things to choose and focus on. I did end up reading more than 52 books this year, and the other one, gym books, didn't happen. If you want to know what I'm talking about, I'll link my goal video from for 2017 down below, but I definitely did not do the whole gym book thing because I stopped going to the gym, basically, which is terrible, and I kind of regret that. I really regret that. But the gym book things did not work out, mostly because every time that I would basically start an audiobook, it was either I was starting an audiobook I was really enjoying, so I wanted to listen to it on my commute too, or I was having a book that was just for the gym, and I was purposely picking books that I didn't find as exciting because I didn't want to have to stop and start them, which was defeating the purpose of gym books. So, didn't work. Didn't work at all. Anyway, so for 2018, I only have really two goals. The first one is going to be the Goodreads challenge. I do this every year. I'm setting it at 52 books. This year, so far, I've read 85 books, but next year could be very different. I don't like to feel stressed out about the Goodreads goal, but at the same time I like it to be a little bit of a challenge. 52 books to me is always going to be the challenge I strive for, a book a week. That's doable. It's also not super stressful, so I'm going to keep it at 52 books a week. If I pass that, I'll up the goal later on, which is what I did this year. The second goal is really going to be to read my shelf. So I have a lot of books on my shelf. I want to read through them. I want to stop buying books and then putting them on my shelf and not reading them. This year, I said this before, I bought, I want to say 58 books, and I only read about 48% of those after I bought them. If I'm buying them, I should be excited about them. I should want to read them. Which brings me to the point, or guess the real goal. I'm going to be participating in Bookoploy, which Elena is kind of the creator of. I'll link her video down below. I will show you at the end of this video a little bit about my Bookoploy board and what that entails. It's super extra, and I'm 100% aware of that. I like the design process. I really did. Basically, the main focus of that is to buy books with the intention of reading them and to read my own shelf. So I have set myself, basically if I buy a book, I have to read it before I can start collecting money into my money jar. So I'm gonna have a money jar that's gonna be set aside. I haven't decided what I want to spend that on. I'm alternating between that's gonna be money that I can just go, you know, spend on books, or that I'm going to use that money to go on like a mini book vacation, maybe to Nashville or somewhere that I can go and meet other booktubers, because that's something I'd really like to do this year, is actually meet other booktubers, because I love this community, but sometimes I do feel a little bit isolated. So I'm thinking maybe that money is going to be something that I can put aside as spending money for some kind of book trip that I would do either late 2018, early 2019. So that is what Bookoploy money is going to go towards. Again, I'll talk a little bit more about it at the end of this video when I can show you the board itself. So those are really the only two goals I have. There are a few other things that I kind of want to do, but aren't something that I'm super focusing on. They're just something I want to track and be aware of and try to do more of. The first is I want to read more translated fiction. I always find when I read translated fiction that I get something really special out of it, whether I enjoy the book or not. I always feel like I get something out of it. So I definitely want to do that, because I need to read more books that are not written by authors in the United States or the UK, because that's basically where the predominant reading material is coming from for me. The other one is I want to read more nonfiction. Again, I feel like I get something out of nonfiction whenever I read it, and I've really enjoyed the nonfiction that I've read this year, but I don't read enough of it. And I want to make sure that I'm taking the time to read more nonfiction and learn in 2018. And then one other thing that I want to do is to reread some of my favorites. It's been a number of years since I've reread the Bel Canto, to the point that I don't remember it very well. But as it's the book that I always tell people is my favorite, I want to revisit it. I did see that the library has an audiobook copy of it, so I may do that, which would be a different medium reading it, and I am excited and nervous about the reread, but I think that's something I definitely want to do, is to reread the Bel Canto. And I do want to reread the Harry Potters. Those I probably will do on audiobook, because when I listened to the 2 audiobooks previously, I really enjoyed that. So I think that's going to be something that I do this year as well. So rereading is not something I do a lot of, but the few rereads I have done, I've really enjoyed, and I feel like I, again, got something out of it because I was seeing things I hadn't seen before the first time, or I was seeing the book in a different way reading it the second time. So those are really the only goals that I have. Very, very loose this year. Just want to make sure that I am being thoughtful about my reading in as many ways as I possibly can. So let's get to Bookoploy. I'll show you the board and I'll give you a little bit more information about it. So here's what the board looks like, and again, aware it's super over the top. I just had a lot of fun creating this. So I'm going to go quickly over the different colors and what they mean, and then I'll go back and talk about the individual squares. So middle grade is the first one, and this is probably going to be all Animorph books. And then I have young adults. The next one, actually I'll turn the board. The next one is general fiction, because that is probably the category I read the most. Then I have historical fiction, followed by sci-fi and fantasy, short stories, nonfiction, and classics. So I did that sort of in the order that I already read them. That way, you know, I get more by reading things that I wouldn't pick up ordinarily, or that I don't pick up as often. Because I do read classics, I just don't read them as often as I would like to read them, and there are a lot of classics that I want to get to. Now, as for the different spaces in between, so I have Community Bookshelf and Chance, which are going to be these cards. So this is Community Bookshelf, and basically what I've done is I've taken these and I've mixed them in so that it is things like read from Book Bath Box, read a book that I heard about from BookTube, read a book, hold on, let me find my favorite one. And some of these, so I really want to focus on getting through my subscription box books. I know it's in here. They're all at the bottom, aren't they? Ah, yes. This one, Justin's Choice, which is that I have to read a book my husband picked out. But I love this picture. He sent me that on Snapchat, and I use it for everything because it makes me laugh. So yes, that is what Community Bookshelf is. Chance, these are different like prompts. So read a hardcover book, read a book with green on the cover, listen to an audiobook. So it's different prompts that I have throughout the year that I can pick. And the idea is that I will pick one of each of these per month to try to accomplish. I'm not super strict on that, just because I don't want to make this overbearing and difficult for me. The tax squares are 500-page books. The readathon or the railroad squares are readathons. So I get to add money to the jar for readathons. I made the utility ones are both Dewey 24-hour readathons. So those happen once in April and once in October. So for participating in those, I do get to basically roll the dice and put that much money in there. And then I'm trying to think if there are any other. No, I think that's it. There is, so free parking, I get to buy books, so that gives me one free book to buy per month, so basically 12 books a year with no penalty. The book jail one, which is basically if I buy books outside of this one, then I have to go to book jail and I have to read those books before I can collect any more money. So like I can still cross things off, I just won't get to put any money in the jar for it. So I'm not telling myself I can't read anything else if I don't read that. I'm just telling myself that you won't collect money for this thing that you're wanting to collect money for until you read those books that you bought. So it's an incentive, but it's also not something that is going to hamper me or keep me from reading or cause me frustration on the reading front. Well, I hope you enjoyed seeing my super extra Bookopoly board and hearing my goals. I would love to hear what some of your goals are. If you've done a goal video or a blog post, link it down below. I'd love to check it out. And I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.